What's up? What's up? Welcome into Sports Tonight. Emily Gagnon here alongside Scott Pennyman, EG, and SP. Scott, how was your weekend? Today's your Monday, even though it's my Tuesday.
It was really fun. It was a really fun holiday yesterday, man. Beach, not beach, but poolside barbecues
I
and
was like,
party
wait,
and
you went
stuff.
to the beach?
No, yeah, right. That would have been a nice long drive, wouldn't it? About 3 hours.
Yeah.
No, but it was really fun. It was really fun Memorial Day. It was really fun holiday weekend. I must say.
Did you actually barbecue yourself?
I did. You know what?
You just showed up.
My responsibilities in with buying the food. All right.
Okay.
I'll buy the food. Somebody else make it.
Okay.
I'm not.
What
I'm,
about cleaning? Do you partake in that?
someone else clean. Look, the hard part is buying the food, right? I mean, if I take my effort and my hard-earned money to go and purchase the food, I don't want to hear anything else. I want somebody
You're
else
one of
cleaning.
those.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those. I want somebody else to make it. I want somebody else to clean afterwards because the hard part is buying the food, right?
Okay. Speaking of cleaning, we've got to clean up Miles' tears today. We really all day. It's
Good old
something
Miles.
we've been having to do. If you are new to the show, Miles Montgomery, he's one of our producers, and he is our Boston-loving sportsman, and he loves everything Boston. And I hate it for him today, Scott. And you're laughing because it's like we've been picking on him for weeks now because, his Celtics, they disappointed in the time that he needed them the most. Game 7, failure.
And
The Heat move on.
that was really rough to watch too. And just, I think out of all the possible endings that we could have predicted for that game, I think one of the last scenarios that we would have thought would be Boston would get blown out on their home floor in Game 7, but that's exactly what happened. Like, I mean, it was one it was one of those games where Miami just seemed like they were the more determined team. Boston from the start. I mean, of course, Boston fans will look at it and they'll say Jason Tatum, about the first minute of the game, came down, rolled on Gabe Vincent's ankle, I believe it was, and he was never right the rest of the game. And Jaylen Brown, who's supposed to be their second star in Boston, really didn't pick up the slack. I mean, he turned the ball over 8 times, had 19 points, which is kind of a blot effort, especially when your superstar player, Jason Tatum, really can't give you 100%. I just think from an entire team standpoint, we all expected more. I'm sure they expected more. And this was a very disappointing end to a season for a team that in preseason, many people predicted would win the NBA title.
So, yeah, they to me looked like a championship team, no doubt. And I said it several times on this show, and I'll say it one more time. I thought they were the team that had the chip on their shoulder, but I learned very quickly that it was the Heat that had the chip on their shoulder. Okay, let's be honest here, Scott. The first 3 games, the way Miami played, that's how they played in Game 7. So they
Yeah.
were relentless. Their defense, in every aspect of the game, the Heat beat Boston. You
Yeah.
got to hate it for the Celtics because I truly thought, I was like, this is going to be their year after they lost in the finals last year. But the Heat were like, wait a second. Like, did you remember what happened to us last year?
Right.
Like, we were sour too. So we made it to this round last year and got sent home by Boston. So this year we're going to return the favor. And that's exactly what they did. For me, the Nuggets are a great team. But for me,
Absolutely.
I would be like kind of scared if I was Denver right now because I just feel like Miami has so much to prove. And Jimmy Butler is on like a true mission to do whatever it takes to win a title. And he is the dangerous man in the playoffs, in my opinion.
You're right. I mean, I think when you look at how Miami have played, they've been picked against in pretty much every round so far. Maybe the Knicks series, maybe some people thought Miami might win that one. But when you look at the first round against Milwaukee, no one really expected that they would have a chance to win that series. They beat Milwaukee, then they beat the Knicks, and then here in the conference finals, they run over the number 2 seed team in the East, the Boston Celtics. I mean, when you really look at things, it looks like the Heat could be a team of destiny, just how they're playing the game. They've lost guys the entire season. I mean, Tyler Hero gets hurt. They just keep it moving. Victor Oladipo, he gets hurt. They keep it moving. I mean, they seem like a team that's on a mission. So, yeah, I mean, look, I've said it time and time again, Denver's the cleanest team in these playoffs. They are probably the most flawless team from top to bottom with their roster. They're playing the best basketball, and the Nuggets blew through the Western Conference. So I think they'll be the favorites in the NBA Finals. But yeah, I mean, would it really surprise anybody to see Miami just find a way to gut this out and find a way to make it a ugly series and just push their way to the top? Nah, because this is what Miami has been. They have I believe, a Hall of Fame coach when it's all said and done.
Oh my gosh, you can't argue that.
Yeah, I mean, Hall of Fame coach and Eric Spoelstra. That organization just knows how to win. And when you look at it, I saw something earlier that said Pat Riley, who's still he's still team president, right, with the Miami Heat. He's been a part of 19 NBA finals as a player, as a coach, and as an executive. That's crazy. And many years ago, he brought that winning mentality to the Miami Heat. And this is what they are. This is how they play. This isn't an accident here. So, yeah, would anybody be surprised? I fully expect. My prediction would be Denver wins this series. But if Miami finds a way to win, I don't think it should or it will surprise anybody.
I think it's going to be an exciting finals. I really do, because both of these teams are going to duke it out, and I think it's going to be some really good basketball. Let's hope that we don't get a sweep, and it would be in Denver's favor in that regard. But let's hope to see some competitive ball being played. I said it yesterday, Scott. The only thing I hate is the fact, and the Nuggets earned it, but the fact that they've just been sitting at home like eating popcorn for days now.
Yeah, I forgot the Nuggets were even playing this season. It seems like we haven't seen them play in 2 months. It's kind of crazy. Right. I mean, they got rid of the Lakers so fast that they've really had to sit back and watch the NBA playoffs like the rest of us. I mean, it seemed like they sat back and watched the whole Celtics and Heat series unfold. So, yeah, I mean,
they're rested.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that could be dangerous in this series. They haven't played in so long, so they were playing such good basketball. I'm sure they wanted to keep going out there and just keep playing. So you wonder where their rhythm's going to be in Game 1. Hopefully for them, it just will only be a problem in Game 1. But you got to wonder where their rhythm would be at, because basketball players, especially this time of year, are meant to play every other day. That's kind of how their bodies are really trained. So to sit at home for 10 or 11 days just watching basketball, meanwhile the Miami Heat are kind of rolling into that series pretty hot, I don't know. That's probably the scariest, probably the thing you worry about most with the Denver Nuggets. But from a pure basketball standpoint, I mean, I think when you look at just the matchups and everything, they should win this series. But we've said that a lot about the Miami Heat in these playoffs, where the other team should win, and we saw what happened.
And that's not just in basketball, Scott. Like last year with the Braves, they got a bye and they got to sit at home and chill for a few days while the Phillies just kept getting hotter and hotter. Mm-hmm. And then the Phillies came here and took care of business. So that could very well, you brought up a great point that I didn't even think about. That could very well happen to the Nuggets. And, in Game 1, we might see some sloppy basketball from them. Mm-hmm. But I said it yesterday, they've been doing media every single day.
Yeah, it seemed like
players and
they run out of things to talk about.
Talking to the media, and they got to enjoy Memorial Weekend. Like maybe they were out doing whatever they were doing, but I look forward to it. I think it's going to be great. And I do have to ask Miles, do you have any last words? Any
Miles
RIP
just laughing over
here? There. Okay, he's declining. He doesn't want to talk about guard your man and get your rebounds and none of that today, because it just didn't happen.
Hey, look, but to that last point that you just made, though, I remember so much watching. It seemed like it used to always happen many years ago. You remember like a lot of those Indianapolis Colts teams with Peyton Manning? They would run off to like 14-2 seasons, 13-3, 14-2, and they would rest guys that last week of the regular season. And I think 7 or 8 times they lost that first playoff game just because they were been resting for so long. So, look, I mean, I know Miles probably hopes that happen. Well, he probably wants Miami to get pounded in this game.
Miles, are you going for the Nuggets now? Okay, he's sour, guys. Miles is still sour. He's going for the Nuggets, switching conferences altogether. I mean, listen, you can't stick with the Eastern Conference at least. Man, he is saying.
Look, those Boston fans, they should have nothing to complain about. I mean, they have 6 Super Bowls from Tom Brady and the Patriots. They've won championships in Boston, so many different championships. The Red Sox have won some. Man, nobody across the country is going to feel sorry for y'all at all. You guys have had more than your share of championships. We just went, all you guys should just shut up and take it, honestly, at this point.
Coming from a Browns fan over there.
And a Cleveland sports fan, period.
Yeah. Only
one championship in my lifetime.
Oh.
That's terrible.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe Miles can come over here and pat your back later.
Exactly. That's the equivalent. Miles being upset about.
Come over here. Come on. You got up. Oh man, you're teasing all the viewers.
Miles being upset about the Celtics collapse yesterday is like the equivalent of like a millionaire losing a few bucks, and like guys like us from Cleveland who never see any of our teams win. We're like, come on, man, be quiet. I mean, it's just once you didn't win. Why are you acting so spoiled? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get in my feelings all like that.
Yeah, get out of them. And if Lee was here, Lee Smith, who you guys haven't met yet, but he's one of our photographers here. You should have seen him and he's a huge Alabama fan, went to Alabama when Georgia was beating Alabama in Indianapolis, pacing back and forth. And I'm thinking about that right now.
Yeah, nobody's
he was having a complete meltdown. So you know what? Miles, every once in a while, winners have to lose.
You gotta lose, man. It's okay.
You're still a winner. Because you've won more than you've lost.
And look, that Boston team, let's be real. I mean, Jason Tatum, this is only his 6th season. And I think we do this way too often too, right? Just think about a lot of superstars in the past. Like, it took Michael Jordan 7 years to win an NBA championship. It took LeBron James 9 years to win. It took Shaq 8 years to win. I think it took Akeem Olajuwon like 11 or 12 years to win. So this is not the end of the world for the Celtics. Jason Tatum is still very young. Jaylen Brown is still very young. They're going to get a lot of bites at the apple, and I truly believe Jason Tatum will be an NBA champion. It just wasn't his time. That's all.
Well, I was going to say it might never be his time, but I'm not going to say it.
Oh,
right,
it's only
Miles,
6 years
Miles,
in. You can't say that.
I'm sorry.
You can't say that.
I've said I'm sorry, Miles, more than I've said anything else in the last few weeks.
It's all right. Miles will be good. He's okay.
Yeah, and my last thought on this, though, is I have to tell the people, he had one word to describe his team. Embarrassing.
Oh, no. Look, they'll be fine. I think we live in this overreactionary world, right, where everything is the end of the world and every game, every series is a referendum on everything. They'll be fine. They'll be good.
The famous last words. They'll be fine.
They'll be fine. Right, next year everybody's going to be getting fired, right? Next year everybody's going to be fired and they're going to implode. But no, I think they'll be fine.
All right, let's move on to some baseball time. Yeah, Michael Soroka.
Nice.
Last night had his first start since August 3rd, 2020 with the Bravos. Scott, I think you're going to tell me you weren't impressed, but I am going to say from my perspective, I absolutely was, because it had been almost 3 years since he took the bump with the Braves. He tore his Achilles twice, the same one. I feel like we've been in this battle together. And if you ask any media member, of course, people say I'm a little biased because I am from Canada and so is he, and we have a lot in common when it comes to that. But he's like the best dude. I mean, have you met him?
I have never met him. I have not since I've been over there.
If you met him, nicest guy, will give you all the time that you need with him for interviews. So for me, I was just, and I think if you ask his teammates this, even though they lost last night, they'll tell you they were just so happy to see him back out there. Again, I would have to believe that he probably thought he would never or might never be able to have that opportunity again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of those games where, look, I mean, obviously every team wants to win every game. You want to play well every game. But to me, that was one of those games last night when with him making his return, that it wasn't necessarily about the result. It was just more so about getting him back out there. This is a great moment, the fact that he's playing. I mean, I'm sure he didn't pitch the way he wanted to pitch, or just ideally in his mind that he thought it may go. But no, I mean, that's not even the point. I think the bigger point here is that he's back. Hopefully that Achilles can stay strong, and I think that the important thing is that he's back into the fold. He's an excellent pitcher, and right now it should just be about getting him back on track.
Right, getting that confidence built back up, and that's what I told.
And that's hard after an injury. Yeah, I mean, that's hard, especially with those Achilles injuries, man. I mean, it's really hard. That's the biggest hurdle when you start talking about working your way back. It's not really a baseball thing. It's just when I plant that leg, is it going to do good? Is it going to, it's the brain, it's the mind games that those injuries play with you. That's the hardest part to any injury. So I think that's the hardest part. That's the hardest hurdle that he'll have to go through. But I think if he gets through that, he'll be fine.
And that's what athletes say, right? They say, like, before injury, they used to just go through motions and not think anything of it. You just, throw the ball or dribble it, or whatever sport you're in, you just do it. It's a natural feeling. But then once you're injured and you come back from injury, you no longer trust your body, so you think before you do, and that's the worst thing to do, because while you're thinking before you do, you mess yourself up even more, and you could re-injure yourself because you're not doing motions you used to do. So that is the biggest hurdle, Scott. I'm glad you brought that up, is the fact that they need to get over what's in their head and just go through the motion. But it's easier said than done. Obviously, I've never done anything like that, so I couldn't actually tell you what it's like, but I can just tell you what athletes have told me, and they always do say when they first come back from injury, I don't trust my body.
Right.
I just don't trust it. So I'm sure last night he had a million thoughts going through his mind. And again, like, I would have loved to see him go out there and get the win.
Of course. Of course.
But I don't think the Braves are like, oh, we've seen enough.
No.
You're going back down to Gwinnett.
No.
I think there's going to be a few chances there, especially with the injuries they have, for him to prove himself and build his confidence back up and hopefully come back to like 2019 shape, which is
an all-star, right?
Oh my, yes.
Yeah.
And he was, I mean, I think people forget he was the Braves' opening day starter one year.
Yeah.
You know, he was the ace of the team before Max Fried. And so the injuries are what's kept him away from baseball. But before he was injured, man, oh man, he was so good.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, I mean, well, I guess like I said, it's not one of those situations where you were all about the result last night. It's just right now at this point, especially at this point in the season, let's just get him right. Because if he can be just another chess piece that you have late in the season come playoff time, that's just going to make this team so much stronger.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm with you. And they're at the A's again tonight, okay? It's a late start because they're on the West Coast. And not to mention, like, Oakland is the worst team, like one of the worst teams in baseball.
And they play in the worst stadium.
Oh, man. I love how you always laugh at the bad things, Scott, always.
Well, that's their fault. That's their fault. I'm sorry.
That is. All right, let's move on to a better topic that we both like more than baseball. And it's nothing, against baseball, but we love to talk about football.
Just for the love of football.
Yeah, we are exactly how many days away from the NFL season
100.
kicking off?
100.
100.
If
Let's
you want to
celebrate.
call it 100. There you go.
100. Let's do this. I think that I am most excited to see what happens in the NFC South this year.
Really?
Yes. Think about, well, not only do we cover the Falcons in that division, but, like, who plays in the NFC South anymore?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's why I was surprised.
Wait,
that's why that was you knocked me off guard when you said that. I mean, with no Tom Brady there and everything. I mean,
the division is up for grabs. And we finally get to see what this Desmond Ridder era is all about. And, I mean, I just can't wait because I truly feel like the quarterback play
could be potentially
it could be
atrocious.
Very interesting. And by the end of the season, we might be asking you to come in. I mean, we might ask you to be the backup to the backup to the backup, and not just for the Falcons, for any of these teams, the Saints, the Panthers, the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, look, the quarterback position is very much a position of opportunity.
Defense. I know you played defense.
Played a little bit of offense though, but mostly defense. I was a defensive back about 20 pounds ago, but
He said it, not me.
Yeah, but no, I think that when you look at the quarterback position, obviously in the NFC, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, you're kind of judged. You're going to go as far as your quarterback can take you, and so when you look at these teams in the NFC South, I don't know. And look, we don't know what Bryce Young is going to be. If Bryce Young ends up being a first-year phenom star player, that changes the discussion about everything. But as of right now, we have no idea what he's going to be.
That is true.
With the Panthers. I think the most dependable guy that we look at is probably Derek Carr with the Saints, but he's with a new team, so we don't know how that's going to go. Obviously, got Baker Mayfield in Tampa, so I don't really know what that's going to be. Of course,
but you like Baker.
I like Baker Mayfield. I thought he was a very solid, quality quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, but they moved on, so we all know why. And then, obviously, with Desmond Ridder. I have no idea what to expect from Desmond Ridder. I mean, when you watch
None
the last
of us do.
No, I mean,
maybe he doesn't even know what to expect from himself.
No. But look, what you're looking forward to is the NFC South. What I'm looking most forward to as we move into the NFL season is all those really good, that murderer's row of quarterbacks in the AFC. Like, I mean, you have no chance in the AFC if you don't have a quarterback. I mean, that's where all the quarterbacks are at. So the quarterback talent was pretty much just sucked out the NFC South and put right into the AFC because, I mean, when you just think about it, Patrick Mahomes, you have Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, who's with my Cleveland Browns, right? Just when you look at Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, I mean, there's a lot of really quality quarterbacks in the AFC. It's going to be hard to get through that conference if you don't have someone capable at that position because, man, I mean, every week you can run into a good one. Just look at the in the West Division, you got Herbert. Russell Wilson, look, I think Russell Wilson is going to be a better quarterback.
Has been?
I wouldn't call him a has-been yet.
He's still married to Sierra, so he will never be a has-been.
Right, exactly.
However,
there's that too.
On the field.
Yeah.
Is she not like the hottest woman?
she's a beautiful. She's beautiful.
I'm allowed to say it. Maybe you can't. He definitely
Always.
won. He won that one.
Yeah,
He wins every day with that one.
and I think he'll be better. I
See,
think.
if you lose on the field, I guess it's all right.
But they hired Sean
You're winning
Payton.
in life.
Yeah, he's gonna, man. I mean, he's gonna be winning in life at least. Well, that's what happens. Well, I don't want to go that deep into.
Yeah, yeah.
He's winning in life for sure. I mean, he's already won. He could go 0-17 this year, and he's already won when it comes to making the money that he's making and being married to Sierra. But on the football field, I think when you look at Sean, they hired Sean Payton. So yeah. What's that?
I said, everybody want to step. I love it when you want to step.
They're gonna be better. Look, I mean, so if you don't have a quarterback in the AFC, just go home right now. I mean, that really should be, because it's just loaded. And even look at the young quarterbacks. Houston with C.J. Stroud. I mean, so for teams like, I don't know. I mean, if you don't have a QB, you're stuck in the AFC. Period. So that's what I'm most looking forward to, because I want to see who emerges in that conference.
What about the Browns, though? Are you already thinking about their season? Like, are you already daydreaming about what's not going to happen?
Well, since you asked,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Apparently, they're one of the leading candidates to be able to get DeAndre Hopkins, who was just recently released by the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, he has the Clemson connection with Deshaun Watson. I'm just saying.
So you would like that? You would like to have him on your
Sure.
team?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
You haven't given up on Deshaun yet?
No, there's no reason to. I mean, he just played 6 football games last year. I mean, I think he even talked about it.
He's kind of like Ritter, who only played 6 too.
That's true, but Deshaun Watson obviously has more of a reputation, right? I mean, he was when
does
Deshaun
have
Watson
a
was at his
reputation,
okay.
yes.
I mean, a football reputation, right?
You didn't know what I was meant. Like,
I knew exactly what you were
leading
alluding
to.
to. I knew exactly what you were talking
know
about,
that.
but that's true. But I mean, I have an idea based on his history. But no, I think when you look at it from a pure football standpoint, what they have there, yeah, I mean, I'm really excited as a Browns fan. You got the guy Nick Chubb, and Nick Chubb, I'm telling you, pretty much every preseason
he is
publication.
loved here, so tell me all about him.
Nick Chubb is one of the best football players that I've seen in a Cleveland Browns uniform. I mean, Nick Chubb, he's just, and I covered him for a couple of seasons. He's one of just the most chillest dudes. I mean, he goes out there, he does
Maybe
his
too
job,
chill?
he runs the football. He may be too chill, but he just runs the football and just flies under the radar. And pretty much every preseason publication I saw had Nick Chubb being the best running back in the NFL. So I think that's something that they always have going for them. But with Deshaun Watson, I think it's going to be a big-time bounce-back year for Deshaun Watson. And I do think the Browns are going to make some noise. I think they're going to be one of those teams that are going to make a lot of noise in the AFC, for sure.
I can't wait. I just can't wait.
You can't wait to laugh at me every Sunday when my face is coming in and I'm walking in on a
just
Sunday
don't
after a
know.
Browns loss.
Maybe I just don't know many fans of certain teams, and maybe I just don't know many people who are like you, who just are obsessed. Miles is like a close second to you. Like, you
I love
don't
the
even
Cleveland Browns.
want to be anywhere near work on a Sunday.
No, I don't.
You want to be in front of a TV
Yes.
watching the Browns
Absolutely.
every second of the way.
Yes.
I mean, I just, you'll take days off.
Yeah.
You'll request Sundays off
Yes.
so you can watch your
Yes.
Browns play.
Can I have Sundays off this
Like,
year?
that is the weirdest thing. You're going to put me on the spot like that? Is that what you're going to do? I just didn't know people really did that. Like, what if you just recorded it? It's because you
No,
don't
that's
wanna...
not the same. You can't watch a recorded NFL
I
game.
know
You're going to know
people
what
who
happened by the
record
time.
the game and won't go on their phones or anything until they get home to watch.
There's too much information out there. You're
And
going to
Miles
know what
is
happened.
like throwing his arms up right now, so maybe he's one of those people. Do you record games and not look?
Recording games
Okay.
sucks. No, you can't. There's just too many. You probably could have did that in 1995, but I mean, there's just too many. If you pick up your phone, most of my social media friends, I have so many social media friends back home who are Browns fans. The
Just
second
stay
I pick my
off.
phone,
Stay off of the social media.
it's just hard. I mean, I don't.
I'm gonna do
that's
what
too
I
hard.
can. I'm gonna do what I can.
I'm just saying.
He's gonna.
I work
keep
extra
this,
hard on
he's gonna
Saturday.
keep this take. He's gonna keep it, and he's gonna be like, Emily, come game one. You said you'd think about it. You'd try your hardest. What are we doing here? And who do your Browns start off with? What's game one for them?
What
Do you
is
know?
game one? I don't really know offhand. You know
I
what?
don't mean to put you on the spot.
It's
like
a
that.
divisional game. I think it's the Bengals.
Okay.
I think it's the Bengals.
So does that like make your blood boil? Like, does that excite your heart?
They start off this season, against the Bengals, week 1, a home game against the Bengals. So, yeah, I mean, a divisional game. Joe Burrow, that's another quarterback. I didn't even mention him. Joe Burrow. I mean, he's one of the great quarterbacks in football right now. I mean, that division's loaded. Just that division alone, when you look at, you have Lamar Jackson, who's a league MVP, Joe Burrow, who's been to a Super Bowl and been one of the best quarterbacks last few years, and then you have Deshaun Watson at quarterback too. I mean, so he's probably the third best quarterback in that division. That just goes to show how stacked the AFC is when it comes to the quarterback position. You got to feel sorry for the Steelers. They got poor Kenny Pickett as their quarterback. I mean, who knows? You know, maybe he'll take a big step this year. But, yeah, I mean, if you don't have a quarterback in the AFC, you got nothing.
And what day is that game?
That game is on September 10th, 1 p.m.
So if I get a request for that day, I know what happened. Well, you said 1 o'clock?
Might be a request coming, 1 p.m.
All right.
It's coming. It's on the way.
Well, guys, we got to blow through this a little faster.
That's fine.
So we're going to wrap up NFL and go to college ball, which is my fave. And Dylan Raiola, right, the number 1 player in the country, committed to UGA, number 1 in the class of 2024. And now the receiver who was originally going to Ohio State with him,
Jeremiah Smith,
was sporting some UGA gear, okay?
How dare him?
Yeah, Jeremiah
What is
Smith.
he doing?
I forget that I'm here with an Ohio State man. Man, this is
What is
great.
he doing?
So Jeremiah Smith, a receiver, working out in some UGA gear. They both were committed to Ohio State originally. Dylan flipped, and now it's looking like Jeremiah might flip as well. So that would mean Georgia would have the number 1 and 2 players in the country in the class of 2024, which would not surprise me. I think it would be a smart move. That's just in my opinion. But Scott, I know you have different opinions.
Well, look, okay, so let me be fair. If your number 1 goal is to win a national championship, then he probably made the right decision because there's probably a much higher chance.
What is the number 1 goal anymore? It's not to win national championships.
I'm
You're
just saying.
NIL, let's make some money.
Well, no, I'm just saying, if you're a wide receiver and you're entering college football, when you look at Ohio State and the receivers they've put into the NFL the last few years, when you look at NFL stars like Mike Thomas, you have Garrett Wilson with the Jets, who won the Rookie of the Year last year.
Are you listening?
You have Jackson Smith-Njigba, who was a first-round pick this year going to the Seattle Seahawks. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., who may be one of the top 3 draft picks in the entire draft next year. I mean, Ohio State is really turning into a wide receiver I'm just saying, Brian Hartline down there, the wide receivers coach, former NFL player, is really doing his thing. So I'm just saying, if your future goal,
built a relationship with a quarterback,
that's fine. But I mean,
that's going somewhere else, and he's the number 1 guy, and you want to catch passes from him, are you staying there?
No, because did you just see how I went down that list of NFL talent at Ohio State at the wide receiver position?
I heard it.
Can you do the same as far as Georgia talent at wide receiver in the NFL? I'm just saying.
Well, listen, Georgia, if you're a defensive player, you'd be an idiot not to go there.
Well, sure,
because
absolutely.
year in and year out, I mean, that's what's happening.
You got me there.
The entire defense is going wherever, whenever,
For
all
sure.
day, all night. And Kirby's a defensive guy, so he's obviously very much focusing on that unit day in and day out.
Yes, ma'am.
And it'll be interesting to see how Bobo does as an OC, because I think if I'm a kid, I want to see that first year, which is this year. I want to see what he can do for Georgia and if the offense can be as good as it was with Todd Monken, right? Because Todd Monken was a genius.
He was.
And the reason they were able to succeed is because of him. And Stetson Bennett says it quite often. Like, the reason I became such a better quarterback was because of Monken. And Monken's now back in the NFL. So, Bobo, it's your turn. Are you going to be able to coach these guys up as much as Monken was able to do that? And if so, Jeremiah, join Dylan. Come on over to Athens. Let's do this. Win another national championship.
I'm just saying, Marvin Harrison Jr.,
You'll still go to
Garrett
the NFL.
Wilson,
You'll still go to the
Jackson
NFL.
Smith-Njigba,
If you're
all
that
first-round
good,
picks.
You'll still go to the NFL.
I'm just saying. I'm
sorry, Scott.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Brett just wrapped us up.
I'm sorry you couldn't text me that night and make fun of me. Okay, I'm sorry. Scott wanted to text me the night that Ohio State almost beat Georgia to go to the national championship.
I had the text ready. It was ready to fire off. As soon as they attempted that 50-yard field goal, it was ready. I was ready to hit send and do a major celebration for them knocking off the mighty UGA, but we all know how that went.
And I was in the press box watching that game, obviously covering it, and never did I have a doubt in my mind.
Brett's
Not
wrapping
once.
us up.
I know. Never once did I think, oh, man, UGA is going to lose this one.
That's true. That's true.
Your guy never kicked a 50-yard field goal.
Oh, well.
Not ever.
Oh, well.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
We're doing this tomorrow. We can't even talk about what we're thinking about.
Good times.